Well, it's a 1-2-3 for the German team. Erik Frenzel ahead of Rydzik, ahead of Fabian Riesler. Watabe unable to hold on to a place on the podium. Finishes down in 4th place, but a solid result for the experienced Japanese competitor. Mike, do you think tomorrow will play out similar today? The weather's looking similar.
I think it will. If Andersen can get his jumping together, if not maybe even a little better, maybe there's a chance of a Norwegian podium. Of course, Grobak, if he gets his timing right on the jump, he has put in a phenomenal ski speed today. So still some hope for the Norwegians tomorrow. And I was just thinking, the men's race this morning, the women's race in cross country, now the Nordic combined, still no Norwegian victory.
No Norwegian win, and this will be all over the Norwegian press, won't it? They'll be writing a little bit negative stories about their performances in the Nordic and Biathlon tours. But the German press will certainly be happy with their Nordic combined team today. So Frenzel, the 28-year-old, made his debut in 2007, first World Cup win. 2008, 32 World Cup wins, something else at 153 starts. That is a record, almost as good as anything in sport I can think of. 55 World Cup podiums, almost a third, just over a third of the events he takes part in. He's on the podium. That is some record from the German.
It is, and of course that's in his whole career. He took some years to mature when he first came on in 2007, so he is the outstanding Nordic combined athlete.
Of course, a big name in Germany, a bit of a superstar of German sport in Nordic combined skiing. Well, one of the later starters coming in for the Norwegian team. Not been their day today, but a good performance in the team event. And Mike, as you were saying, Andersen, if he can just make a couple of tweaks tomorrow, he's got a shot at the podium.
He certainly has, and just gliding across the line, Sotvik.
Yeah, Slotvik had that good jump, but the ski speed not there today. Well, that wraps up today's competition here in Lillehammer, Norway. It's Frenzel taking the win. We'll be back tomorrow, 7:45 in the UK, 8:45 in Europe for the jumping. From myself, Ian Finlay, and from Mike Dixon, we'll say bye for now.
Direkt in på innerplan, stanna gärna på den och sen kommer det vara Ostersund tillsammans med Biathlon-orkestern i
Ostersund traditionally hosting the first round of the Biathlon World Cup. Nothing different this year. And we're waiting for the start of the men's sprint event, their second individual race of the season. Martin Fourcade has already made himself the man to beat after a tremendous performance in the individual 20-kilometer. Conditions here are good. -6, 1 kilometer an hour wind. It is perfect. No excuses today. Well, that was a different story in the 20K. Fourcade was on top, but he won it with a 90% hit rate. First prone was good. The first stand gave Fourcade problems. And he must have been thinking of the disasters that he's had here in the past. It was Johannes Tingesbo who really set the mark early on, skiing fast, shooting well. And he was to clear 15 out of 15. Fourcade, no further mistakes from him. He left the range and set a time of 42.37. That was easily within reach of Johannes Tingesbo until he missed 2 targets on that last shoot. And from then, it was a one-way story. Fourcade, too strong, too good. The champion from last year, the 5-time overall champion, is on his way maybe to a 6th title. Johannes Tingesbo may have to wait. 29.5 behind. Still, he'll be happy with 2nd in the long run, but he knows he could have won this one. Well, there you see it. 94 podiums from only 239 races. What's that? 40% hit rate on the podium for Martin Fourcade. He is absolutely sensational and the hot, hot favourite to win the sprint today. Well, let's have a look at the start sheet for today. Emil Hegler Svensson, former overall World Cup champion, goes number 1. Arndt Pfeiffer, another man who's won plenty of World Cups, goes 2. Fourcade down there in 11. That's just about perfect. But he would have liked to have started behind Johannes Tingesbo, not in front of him. So the Norwegian has another target to aim for. Fillon Maillet going 28. All the French are skiing well. Shipulin, the best of the Russians, goes 33. We got Benny Vega yet to show his best form for Switzerland. Lindstrom is Sweden's big hope. He goes 44. Max Davis in Canada ahead of Erlend Bjørntegard. And then further down, Lars Hegler Birkeland going number 60. All the top seeds, as you will have seen, going early on. Groups 1 and 2. Scott Dixon, he's back on his feet, Mike, after being hospitalised after the individual. Your lad he's risen again for another fight.
Well, he's risen, absolutely. I hope he's going to be all right. I think the coaching advice and the medical advice is to say start it today. It's important for Scott, I believe, to gain enough points to stay with the World Cup, or he's sent back to the IBU. So they've made a decision, rate him. If it's not going well, they will pull him out. So it's a tough period. It's not ideal, I don't think, but we'll see how he gets on.
Well, when Marit Bjørgen had a few little flutters with her heart, she was out for months. They didn't take any. They took every precaution going to make sure that she was fit and healthy for racing. So I'm a little surprised to see him back in action 48 hours later.
Well, my understanding, they thoroughly checked him out and they felt it was okay.
Well, if you were with us earlier on, you will have seen a fine performance from Marie Dorin-Habert. She wins her 6th World Cup. 3 of her wins, incidentally, have come at World Championships. She's very much a lady for the big occasion, but today she looks sensational. And what interested me, Mike, is how conservative she was on the rein. She really took her time and just made sure of the targets. Risky tactics in a sprint, but it paid off for her on this occasion. So, welcome to the penultimate day of action here in Ostersund, round 1 of the Biathlon World Cup. Great conditions today. Everyone delighted that the wind has abated for at least this afternoon. There may be some more coming tomorrow. It is forecast, but maybe things will change overnight. Svensson, nice to see him back on the tour. There was talk of retirement at the end of last year. He's too good for that.
He's too good, but if you lose your way, if you lose your focus, and I think he did a little bit, the interest in it, then it's tough. He's certainly back with a vengeance now. Didn't race him in the 20. I think he's going to show them that he's still in the race today. Select me every time.
We'll see. Will he be happy with bib number 1?
No.
Arndt Pfeiffer, 29 now, and of course he's been one of the strongest Germans. I don't think he's quite fulfilled his potential, Mike. When he won the World Championships in Janting-Mansijsk, he was incredible, absolutely slaughtering all the Germans and the Norwegians in the sprint event.
That's my feeling as well. Pfeiffer, he had a good ski time 2 days ago. Getting 10 out of 10 today, I think you'll believe that the podium is a possibility. And that's the difficult thing. About 25 of these athletes will believe if it's 10 out of 10, they could podium.
Well, Bauer will, but 10 out of 10's no easy task for him. Should go clear in the prone. We'll see what happens in the stand. Just looking at the World Championship results for Bauer. He didn't actually do too well. 0-2 in the sprint, which was pretty much standard, and I suspect we might see the same again. We haven't heard that there's been a dramatic improvement on his shooting, particularly in that stand position. What's most with the youngsters that you're bringing through? Is it the stand that gives most of them problems?
You can't really, with the weight of the rifle, you really need to be 14, 15, big framework to hold the weight of the rifle. The prone, the kids are very good, very accurate.
Jesper Nellin goes number 5 for Sweden. He's a local man. Most of the Swedes are local because they've moved here to train here and live here. Don't all come here from here initially, but Nellin, we saw him on the World Cup last year. He was just outside the top 60 in the World Cup rankings at the end of the season, and actually did much better at the World Championships. He was just about breaking into the top 30. This season, I imagine his target is to get a couple of top 20s.
Well, from what I understand, he really is much improved in terms of his raw kilometre pacing, so it didn't go well from the 20. I think Nellin will have a good race today.
Korkenes, we saw him race in the individual. He's a man who evidently doesn't like the wind. 8 shots missed out of the 20, and that pushed him all the way down to 85th position. If he'd shot clear, it would have been a very different story. He would have been right up in the top 7. But that's the way of biathlon, isn't it, Mike?
And it certainly is, and that's where Schepelin, with his only missing 1 shot, of course, Schepelin starting just after Eder, it can work for you on a windy day.
Now, what are we going to see from Eder this year? We saw his best form really in Ruhpolding last year. We had 2 rounds of the World Cup, remember, in Ruhpolding, and the first one, Simon Eder won a pursuit there in some style. That was one of the races of the season. It'd be nice to see him challenging the top names.
And I think with the World Championships in Austria in February, we're going to see a very strong Austrian team that time, maybe not early season.
Not early season. I think I agree with you. I know the Norwegians have a term for those who perform well in the first 2 World Cups. They're called Julestar, which is Christmas stars, and they know that the lights go out eventually.
Oh dear. It does happen though, doesn't it? We see it every year. Schepelin, he must be feeling good. On the press interview at the medal ceremony, he was delighted to have placed 3rd 2 days ago.
Well, here's a man who's been around a bit. I think he must have been 17, 18 when we first met him up in Fourcade in Finland, training in the tunnel up there. And even then, he was full of enthusiasm.
He must feel good again. His ski speed deserted him a little last year, Schlesinger, but he's back now. The good time on the 20 kilometre. Can anybody beat
number 11.
Can anybody beat him?
Yeah, he's got the yellow bib, he's got the red bib. I suspect this might be a season, but he holds on to the yellow from start to finish. And if he does that, and he wins the World Cup, Mike, he equals Bjorndalen with 6 overall World Cups. And then surely he'll say, might as well hang around for 1 more season.
And then he'll think after Pyeongchang, I might as well hang around for another Olympics.
Well, I don't know. I think Pyeongchang, he may well hang up his skis. He's the sort of man who wants to get on with life and do other things. He's a very clever man. He's got so many interests. I'm pretty sure that the Pyeongchang, the 2018 season, will be his last. Well, we'll see.
We'll see, but he just can't do anything wrong. He is so much in control.
And he wants this one. You can see that from the first 10 metres. Fourcade powering his way out of that start gate. And we'll get an early split. Just looking, we'll get a split at 2.1. We'll also get one, hopefully, we'll get one before they come in to shoot for the first time. But at 2.1, it's Arndt Pfeiffer who sets a time of 4:46. Can't quite match Svensson. Slightly conservative approach to that fast left-hand turn. There's a second to be gained by attacking the top of that hill, Mike. Carry more speed out. You've gained 10-15 metres for free.
Every coach and every club up and down on the planet will tell their young athletes that work over the top, gain that extra pace, you'll get a few more metres at the end of the hill.
You get a longer rest as well. You can stay down in the speed position for that little bit longer, in the tuck, as some people call it.
Jan Savitsky, here he is, the 13. He looked more convincing in the 20 kilometer. His ski speed has definitely improved.
Yeah, he finished in 44th with 4 misses as we cue in on the fastest of the Norwegians. I hesitate to say the best, but if Johannes Tingesbo gets it right on the range, he will be the quickest Norwegian across the line.
As Johannes pointed out 2 days ago, he said, well, last year I was 2 minutes slower than Martin Fourcade on the track, and he was only 16 seconds slower 2 days ago. So I think he really can push Martin today, Johannes Tinges.
Yeah, I think he lost heart a little, missing 2 targets on the last shoot in the individual 2 days ago, and it, you know better than most how disheartening it is when those final targets don't go down. Especially when he came in
with a minute in hand. He had everything under control, and it kind of melted away.
Who do you think in the men's tour is the best at clearing the last 5?
Hey, do you know, I was thinking about that before the race. We've often seen Simon Eder, especially on the big days, be so tough on those last 5. He'll get them on the big days, but in World Cups, he lets it melt sometimes. But he springs to mind.
Because his style of shooting is all about relaxation. He doesn't have time to develop nerves because he just lets them go.
Well, maybe you've just hit it there, the nail on the head, just because he doesn't think about it, he just reacts. And therefore that takes the thinking out of it, and it's always the thinking that disrupts the release of the shot.
I hate to say it, it is impossible not to think.
It's how you train your thinking, though. If you absorb it with something else, if you absorb it with just your breathing like a metronome, then that's all you're existing with.
Let's see what Svensson's thinking of, or what we think of him after this. Feeling confident?
Yes.
Little low left, needs to tighten it up for the last one. He does so. 5 out of 5. Svensson is clear. Mazet is relieved. Didn't look happy, just looked relieved. The Frenchman who's transferred to the Norwegian team. No bigger insult to the French team than to go to the Norwegians, but where else would you go?
Quite amazing, yeah. If he wants a change of scenery, he loves his fishing, he loves his outdoors, Mazet, so he wanted to spend a bit of time in Norway.
Well, I'd like to see his contract.
Yeah.
A week's salmon fishing up north, maybe.
Well,
that's nice from Pfeiffer, but he's gonna be, is he fractionally outside? Very tight between himself and Svensson. Only 2 seconds between them on the last split we've got, and that margin remains roughly the same, 2.1.
I'll have to say, Svensson on his exit of the range, he was so slow getting his poles on. For young athletes, they'd be given a hard time for taking it so slowly.
Well, you might have detected an increase in volume from the crowd. It's because the Grandmaster, let's call him, Ole Einar Bjorndalen, is about to start. 42 years old, he'll be 43 in January, and he's still giving this man a run for his money. Fourcade up to 2.1, Schlesinger on 4:42, and Martin Fourcade says, I can match that and better it.
I'm a little surprised with Martin. I was thinking in my mind at the start, I thought the way he started, he'll be 6 seconds up on anybody there. At the moment, it's 3.
Yeah, because his first lap on the individual was lightning quick, possibly still a little tired. I know they had Friday off, Mike, but that first race, longest format of racing, does tend to take it out of you.
It very much, especially nowadays when there's only 3 20 kilometers in the whole racing season. Brilliant.
Well done, Nellin. Well done, and it's quick. Svensson on 8:33 is going to be bettered. He was quite a long way down the range, Mike, so he's got a few extra seconds before the clock will stop. But I think it's going green for Jesper Nellin, and we should hear another cheer from the crowd. We do. 5.4 the margin.
Spot on. He looks good. I know in training he's been very good. He didn't look great on the 20 kilometer, bless him, but he's back today. 69th he was in the 20 kilometer, but he did miss 8 targets. Kaukanas, unfortunately, he needed those 5 just to raise his spirits into the second time round, the 3.3 kilometers. Eberhard, he set the 3rd fastest ski time. 2 days ago probably set the fastest today. One of the few left-handers in the field, Simon Eder, and one of the fastest shots in the world. Hardly looks as if he's breathing, just one light breath in between each shot and out like a rocket. His ski speed, though, isn't quite the rocket that maybe he'd be after today, given that he's shot the fastest so far.
9 seconds, quite a margin in this race. Just in case you've not seen a sprint before, we're expecting a winning time of between 24 and 25 minutes. Martin Fourcade won this race last year in 24:02. He won in 2014 in 24:46. He won the year before that in 25:56. The last man other than Fourcade to win is Legelic of Canada, who of course has since retired. And before that, Carl-Johan Bergman was the last Swede to get a home win, and his winning time 24, so most are around 24. Fourcade on form with 10 targets down. We're looking at 2020, no, not 21, 24, 24:30.
On top form, and he's starting slower today. Schlesinger leaving his glasses and leaving one shot standing. That's a real pity. Schlesinger would have gone out first.
Oh. Mario, are you on the right target? Yes. You ever lined up on the wrong target?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. Maybe in the early days.
I don't think this man has. That long delay before the first shot. The clock is looking good. 8:28, the current lead. His performance coming into the range was just slightly slower than Johannes Tingesbo, but Johannes Tinges has yet to come through for the first shoot. So Fourcade should take the lead when he comes out of the stadium. We'll update you. He has his time 8:19. He's 8 seconds clear of Jesper Nellin. Wow.
What do the rest of the field, the rest of the world of biathlon have to do to control Martin Fourcade? He's so good.
And at that rate, Mike, he's earned himself a penalty loop, so he can almost afford a miss, but this man can change that scenario. 1.8 seconds quicker than Martin Fourcade at the first split at 2.1. It's a 10-kilometre race, 3.3-kilometre loops, so Johannes Tinges will try and get you just before he comes in. Actually, he's slowed his pace a little bit.
Well, he's trying to get his breathing under control, so he attacked so hard on the track, and Johannes just trying to settle his breathing, so he is losing time now.
And trying to get a bit of blood into those fingers so he can actually feel the trigger. It's -6, not particularly cold, but there's a lot of humidity, so it feels colder than it is. Mazet watching every single movement. The coach is probably holding his breath all the way through 5 shots. The athlete has to take one quick breath in between each shot. Oh, it's low, it's low. He doesn't get it this time. He had a similar shot yesterday that went down, and Johannes Tingesbo will not win today unless Fourcade has a meltdown, but that is a bad move.
That's interesting. I think that Mazet has had a word with him saying, right, listen, calm it down. We want those 5 hit. And he was a different biathlete there. He was taking his time, he was thinking, and he didn't go with rhythm and routine.
163 on the pulse as Anef settles on the mat. He's one of the older athletes, so you wouldn't expect to see it up at 180, 190. It's nice shooting.
Anef had a good ski time. I think he was 8th fastest ski time in the 20-kilometre. You can see he's competitive there. Took a little longer to shoot than most.
Yeah, and he had a brilliant individual. He hit 18 out of 20, finished in 7th position. Tim Burke was down in 16th, hitting 19 out of 20. It was, in fact, 17 out of 20. He missed 2 on the first stand, didn't he? So again, 70% hit rate in the stand, 100% hit rate in the prone. We know what he's been doing all summer, but will it make a difference when it comes to the second shoot today? Off the mark, but competitive in terms of a top 10.
I like what we saw from Tim Burke and Lowell Bailey just 2 days ago. They've certainly got some ski speed, got some form, and they were shooting well.
And they've had some good news from Lillehammer, of course, with Jess Diggins getting a win in the women's race. That will lift the American biathletes. Now, Svensson. First 5 targets have gone down. After the first shoot, he's currently lying in 3rd position, 14 seconds down on Fourcade, but an extra 150 meters in his prime, he could give it away, but not now. Benedict Dahl, another man who was consistent on the World Cup last year. He's just gone through 5 prone targets down as the wind picks up a little.
I think Benedict Dahl, we saw him improve so much in the ski time from the end of last season till now. He was really fast in the 20.
It's like his head isn't attached to his shoulders. It's bizarre. Absolutely, I'm very surprised that he hasn't tightened it up. It's just messy, Mike. It's not efficient.
I'm surprised that as a young athlete, that wasn't as hard to change it later when you've done that all your career in racing. But it's certainly working today for him.
Ada's shooting okay. Landertinger shooting better. Well done, Landertinger. 8:24 and. Can he get inside Svensson on 8:33? I don't think he will quite. It's going to be tight. Top 6.
Looks like Bjorndalen on lane 1 it is.
Now this man has had to adapt many times. That was a close one. Split round on 4, sounded heavy on 5 as well, but all 5 targets have gone down. The time is not quick. 8:28 for Bjorndalen. Is his age finally catching up with him? 15.2 outside. He's into the top 5. Well, there are plenty who never get anywhere near the top 5 in the prime of their career, but so you have to admire what he's still doing.
Very much, and I think he'll pick it up. We've seen traditionally he starts slowly and he really starts punching faster as the race goes on.
That's what he's done over the years here, in particular, in the early stage of the season. Simon Schemp. Schemp reckoned to be Fourcade's main rival for the overall World Cup, but not with shooting like that.
Jesper Nellen into the range was so competitive, just 2 seconds off the fastest.
Last year, this race won with a clear shoot. The last 2 years, Fourcade won it in 2013 with 1 missed shot in the stand. And actually, he outskied the likes of Lindström and Burke and Beatrix and Pfeiffer. Eberhardt, 1 miss, 1 penalty loop. Was that Lucas Hoffer on the penalty loop? I think it may well have been the... number 1 Italian, I guess, as we watch Ada.
It was Lucas Hoffer.
This is the way to shoot, left to right. Little delay between 3 and 4, and it's cost him. 5 goes down, no delay there.
That little delay, he normally keeps that steady routine. Was that his thinking shot? And he would have gone out in first place.
Granichev for Russia.
He skied quite well, Patrick Granichev, 2 days ago. Competitive, but I think it was still 1:50 behind. But I think Shipulin can challenge for the victory today.
Granichev 6th in the World Championships in Oslo at the end of last season. Missed 1 in the prone, in the stand, I mean, but with 2 misses early on. Simon Fourcade, what chance of 2 brothers on the podium. Martin Fourcade looking very good.
Well, into the range, Simon is only 5 seconds behind his brother Martin.
Not now.
Must be frustrating when your kid brother dominates the sport. Here he is.
I should think he gets a few hand-me-downs. It's got to be a good side. Oh, look at that. That's what it's like to be the world #1. That was just oozing confidence from start to finish. And Martin Fourcade pretty much knows that he's going to get this one. We'll have a look at the time. 17:02, the quickest so far. He's at least 30 seconds inside. 36 seconds the margin. He could have done a penalty loop. He hasn't got to. And that means that, well, Johannes Tingesbo won't catch him now. Who's his nearest rival after the first shoot? Benedict Doll was only 3 seconds behind. He started number 18, so we'll watch out for him. Pedrushny of Ukraine, 12 seconds down. He's on his way into the range fairly shortly. He started 24, and then Uliana Bjorndalen clear on that first shoot, and he is 15 seconds behind. So if Bjorndalen can clear 5, he could be back on the podium. He's got a good record here in Ostersund. Well, he's got a good record everywhere, but in the latter stages of his career, he's got a good record here.
He has, and I think it's just coming off the back of his autumn preparation, some glacier skiing. Bjorndalen always has, in recent times, performed so well. Fillon Maillet, we saw in the prone position, he had a little problem. He didn't push his bolt all the way forward, so it didn't fire. He had to recock, and that put him off. He missed the last 2 targets.
Umpire first, skis didn't look particularly quick.
Shvetkov, 3 gold, 2 silver at Junior World Championships. And this is competitive, Shvetkov.
Best of the Russians in the individual race was Anton Shipulin. That's a nice shoot.
Very, very clean, positive. There's Rico Gross, one of the best shots in his, what, 15-year racing career.
Johannes Tinges. Are we going to see him flow? I think you're right, Mike. He's under orders to take his time in the range, and it's not happened. He missed 1 in the prone, he's missed 1 in the stand, and it's going to be an average performance from Johannes Tinges. And Martin Fourcade already opening up a sizable gap in terms of points in the World Cup standings.
Shipulin only 4 seconds behind Fourcade's time into the range.
Every time you say that, Mike, they miss the target.
Oh dear.
I quite like his stop.
Modified.
I think it's a T-Rex. Now Svensson in towards the finish, coming out of the second shoot. Incidentally, Fourcade leading, as you know. The margin is still 36 seconds between Fourcade and Piper, with Schlesinger in 3rd, Svensson in 4, and Svensson the first of those 4 to start, so he gets the quickest time in the finish. Piper is going to push Svensson down by some 17.8 seconds. Good clear shooting. That will give him some confidence for, certainly for the pursuit. Don't forget the pursuit tomorrow is based on the results of today.
To miss your last shot, and look how close it would have been, quite close at least, to Martin Fourcade.
Well, he would have gone into 2nd place. And now he's going to be outside the top 4. Landertinger, 16:20. 2nd place is for the taking. Could be looking at a clean sweep for Fourcade for this weekend, Mike. He's, for the last 5 years, he's always won 2 of the 3 races here. It could be 3 out of 3 this time.
Certainly setting himself up beautifully. The next best after the stand shoot is Piper, 36 behind.
is this man going into second. Don't forget he won the individual here last year. Little fumble on the recocking, but he's recovered well. Hasn't put him off, and he gets number 5 down. It's looking good for Uliana. 16:46, Pfeiffer's time of 17:02 may well be beaten. It's going to be very, very tight. That'll be an interesting ski contest, Mike. Where would you put your money?
Well, I would, at the moment, I would say Biathlon, if they go out on the same time, well, it's going to be a little behind. Surely he's going to be given all the information, maybe enough for him to pull those few seconds back.
2 seconds to make up on Arndt Pfeiffer, and Uliana Bjorndalen looking for a top 3 to start his season. The top 3 contenders all clear. Dahl, Schlesinger, Svensson, Ada, Burke, all missing 1 apiece.
Some poor shooting there. Savitsky missing 8, only hitting 20% of his targets today. Don't know what's going on there.
I think this was one of the best standing shots we've seen from Martin Fourcade, and he's produced some fine shots over the year, but it was just solid. There was hardly a flicker of movement in between. You saw him in the background, Martin Fourcade. He's only got another 500 meters to go. He'll be coming back round this corner in under 30 seconds time. And it doesn't matter what those in front do, he is going to better it. Simonada there is on the charge for the line, and Simonada missing 1 in the stand. If we take 25 seconds off, we have a very impressive time. But Ada goes into 3rd place. Pfeiffer on 24:15, still the leader. We could be looking at around 23:30. It's possible. .24:02, the winning time last year. He's going to be considerably quicker than that. We're going to be in the 23:30s, and it's, well, he's lost a second there, but 43 seconds the margin. Remember, he was 36 clear when he came out of the range, so he's taken another 7 seconds out of the likes of Ada and Schlesinger and Pfeiffer on that last loop. Unbeatable.
What an amazing biathlete. I thought we were going to see him collapse on the line there, because he never does that, but no, he just bends down, picks his skis up and walks off.
Johannes Tingis 133 behind. He's going to be giving away some 750 meters to Martin Fourcade at the start of the pursuit. 7.5 and he might have a chance, but not 750. Dominic Vindish, he's getting better, no doubt about it. Every season he shows that little bit more confidence, and he started well here today. 10 out of 10, and we could see Vindish in the top 5. Freddie Lindstrom, we need something special from him just to get the crowd involved. Much better crowd. Having said that, much better than it's been for the last couple of days, Mike.
It gives a good feeling, and what pressure for Lindstrom when they're all praising his hits.
One more, please, Freddie.
Well
done.
And of course, Nellin was doing well until the stand shoot, sadly missing 3, spoiling his day.
Slightly concerned about Lindstrom's ski speed, Mike. First shoot completed, he's already 18.8 behind. If we multiply that by 3, he's going to be almost a minute down, and that will have him out of the top, have him outside the top 7 with clear shooting.
Surprising. I thought we'd see Lindstrom just that little bit more dynamic at this time of year. You always want to perform well at home, but nope, there's a way to go.
Brendan Green. Nathan Smith also racing. He started number 17. We'll try and update you on his performance. And Brendan Green going into 6th place for now, 139. So in terms of skiing, he's lost a minute 10. over 10 kilometers. Whoa, little slip there from Johannes Tingis. Great reactions to stay on his feet. All the weight on that inside ski. I think 99% of athletes would have gone down with a little incident like that. But Johannes Tingis stays strong. Lost himself a second or so, but it could have been so much worse.
At the last check, he was 1:33 behind.
Well, that puts him in just over the 25-minute mark. Has he managed to gain a little bit of time? 25:11 to push Green down a slot. He does that. And Johannes Tingis into 6th position.
Holding the same ski speed over the last 2.1 kilometers, the same speed as Martin Fourcade. He'll take some positives.
Nice shooting from Svetkov. And he becomes a challenger for 2nd position. Now, we need to try and catch up on the battle between Pfeiffer and Bjorndalen, both very tight coming out of the second shoot, just a couple of seconds apart. At 9.5, Pfeiffer's gone through, some 45 seconds off Fourcade, but Bjorndalen actually seems to be losing a bit of time, Mike.
Yes, he does. At 8.7, Bjorndalen, he's at 54 seconds behind, so he's lost, what, 5 to Pfeiffer from the range.
Benedict Doll is the man who's done well, and he'll be across the line in under a minute. Tim Burke, good shooting, better shooting. 9 hits out of 10. Benedict Doll, here he comes, and he's looking for 2nd position. 24:15, the time he's after. Still got 15 meters to go. Just misses out and goes into 3rd. Pfeiffer survives, but 2 Germans now on the podium. Svensson, the best of the Norwegians, in 4th. And Bjorndalen seems to be struggling out there, unable to make an impression on Arne Pfeiffer. Here comes Shapulin. He's got the same shooting score as Johannes Tingesbo. And he breaks to the left to complete another penalty loop.
You can just sense and feel that his spirit is not broken, but it's dented with missing those 2 targets. He was not in a major hurry to get round that penalty loop.
Now, Mike, we were talking about the adaptations that Bjorndalen's made over the years. He's always looking. He sort of sets the trends, doesn't he? He's always looking for a way to get an advantage on the others. What does he do at the age of 42, where physically you don't have as much strength? Obviously his endurance is amazing, but what does he do to keep pace with someone like Fourcade?
As you say, he keeps evolving. I think what we see is that his shooting percentages are getting better, so he knows now the importance. In the past he used to miss a target and ski his way out of trouble. Now he knows he can't ski his way out of trouble, so his shooting statistics are going a little higher, 100% today.
And how about that? He is the #1 Norwegian at the moment, 24:29. Just missing out on a podium. Remember, he won the individual here last year. He was 3rd in the sprint behind Fourcade and Pfeiffer. So it's a very similar looking podium at the moment, with Fourcade, Pfeiffer 1 and 2. Doll has got in the way of Ole-Einar Bjorndalen, who's been pushed down into 4. Eberhard goes into 4, just ahead of Bjorndalen. So a good strong finish from the Austrian. Can he get anywhere near Benedict Doll? I don't think so. What's Doll's time in 3rd position, Mike?
Doll is 23:31 plus his 44 seconds.
So he's 24:15.
That'll do.
That is the time that Eberhard is after. He's got 15 seconds to do 150 meters. It's got to be the speed of Usain Bolt if he can do it. 22 just coming through on the inside as Simon Schemp, who's finishing strongly but has made mistakes on the range. Eberhard could go onto the podium, just misses out on that 24:15, and he goes into 4th, pushes Bjorndalen to 5. Svensson goes 6. Not a bad day for the Austrians. They're all looking good in terms of ski speed. And I think they will build and build and build. I hope we're not seeing the best of the Austrians at this stage of the season.
I don't think so. I think they've got a lot more to give. Eberhard, I'm amazed he didn't demand that inside line, because he was chasing down the podium, and now he finishes only, what, 1.6 seconds off the podium.
Pegdrushny of Ukraine, as we see Rastoguyev on the firing point. Now, Rastoguyev is a very quick skier. We'll try and let you know how he did after the first shoot. He went clear and he was only 14 seconds adrift. He's one of about 15 athletes who know they can podium if they shoot clear, but one miss on a day like this, especially when the world #1 goes clear, you have to match him. Simon Fourcade.
Simon Fourcade, it's not bad at all. He's only missed one target. He's 47 seconds behind as he left the range, and here he is coming in towards the finish.
Top 10 waiting for him. Bjorn Dahlen on 24.29. I think he's just going to survive. It's going to be very tight. Oh, so tight. Simon Fourcade gets it. Fractions of a second between them. I think it was 1/10 of a second between them. And that is a common phrase from the coaches. Every second counts. Well, it should come down to every 1/10 of a second counts.
Had Simon Fourcade, had he hit all 10, he would have been in second place. So he's going to take a huge amount of confidence from his position today, or his time today.
Isn't that the biggest word in biathlon?
If. You look at the positives. Biathlon in small picture, skiing fast. Vindish, good job, 10 out of 10.
Biathlon always reminds me a little of Halvard Hannevold on the range, just slightly low in that prone position.
Yeah, Hannevold was very, very low, very close to the ground.
And he was one very good shot as well. Shot himself to many a win in the individual format. Freddie Lindstrom. This last one's as hard as the remaining 4. He's got it. That's a solid, mature performance from Freddie Lindstrom in front of his home crowd.
For second place, Patrick, if he gets himself organised, at least on the time going out, he could be pushing Vindish.
Well, we mentioned some concern about his ski speed after the first lap, Mike. Either he was conserving something for later on, or he's not feeling 100%. We will find out, but he's put himself in a position to challenge for second.
Very much so. All the coaches will be telling him, listen, you've got 2 seconds to move from 4th into second and make it happen over the next 3.3 kilometers.
Where does he make his move? Does he go on the climb, or does he save something for the top of the hill and come down quickly? I think a lot of people don't appreciate how much time you can gain on the downhill sections, or the corners, more particularly the corners into the uphills.
Very much, and I think, and I hope for Swedish biathlon, I think he saved himself, because remember, he was some 17 seconds behind after the first shoot where he hit 5, and now he's only 37 behind after the second shoot, where all the rest against Martin Fourcade have lost a lot of time.
Svetkov trying to get the Russians into the top 6 as we go back to the range. Fourcade going through the paces of his second shoot. This is good. This is a potential podium finish as well. Oh, not with a miss, and he knows how expensive that wild shot is going to be. Oh, a shake of the head, not just from everyone in the Norwegian coaching area behind the range.
Look at the clock. In their hands. Look at the clock.
Yeah,
he would have been straight
really
out
good
into second place, or chasing for second place, and he has good ski speed. I've just noticed further back down the pack, Mickey Rush is 6th fastest ski time, so he really is, from a late starter, going to threaten the pack.
Well, it's getting colder. It's been sub-zero all day, Mike, but there's been a lot of humidity, and as it drops, as the temperature drops, it's just getting that little bit firmer. Actually, we saw it in the women's race. I was convinced that the conditions at the back end of the race were just a fraction quicker.
Possibly, and it looks like we're on 8 o'clock at night, but of course, it's only 3:30 in the afternoon in Ostersund.
Shapulin, not a good day, and actually, the race, the fight went out of him after that second miss. And I'm not sure we're going to see anything too impressive here. He's got a lot of work to do in the pursuit, but The positive side of starting behind in the pursuit is you've got people to chase. 125 is the margin he's got to try and make up. Definitely got a film star's name, this man.
Felix Leitner, he's certainly a star at the Junior World Championships, winning his gold medals. And they had him down to start for the 20, but I think it was wise. At 20-year-old, he's maybe not quite ready for it, but he's certainly ready for World Cup racing.
The tricks and news from the French camp as we get a shot of the probable winner. Is that we've obviously got Fourcade in first place. We've got Simon Fourcade in 6th at the moment. Further down the order, Beatrix has slotted into 14.
Just missing one there, Beatrix. Here's Rush, as I was saying, he's having an amazing time, and it reminds me of 2008 when he was German. He's now racing for Belgium. He came 5th, and he'd been out training that morning, and one of his guys were ill, and he was brought in late, and he came 5th in the 10K sprint.
And that's a good, solid shoot from him. That's the first sign we've seen of his talent. Scott Dixon just behind him, number 68 on the range. He's made it to the first shoot, Mike.
He's made it to the first. Well done, Scotty boy. And getting out fast.
So out goes Rush, 13.5 seconds, down in 8th place. But if he can keep a margin of 13.5 all the way through to the second shoot, he will move all the way up into 2nd place. And then it's so tight. Vindish 35 behind, Piper 36, Lindstrom 37, Bjorndalen 38, Bailey 38 as well, Svetkov 39. Every second counts.
Well, Rush, it's a big surprise. Well, he's only, what, 33, or is it 30 now? 33-year-old.
Lindstrom still hunting that 3rd place, and he's got the margin from, I think he's 2nd equal, actually. Maybe we can check on that, Mike. He had a 2-second gap to make up on Piper. I think Lindstrom might well have done it going through that last checkpoint.
Lindstrom, well, he's closing it. He's only 0.7 of a second off
2nd place, but he is level with Piper in 3rd, so he's 3rd equal, not 2nd equal, and as Mike says, less than a second to make up on Benedict Doll. Surely with home advantage, he knows the tracks better than anyone else. He's got the crowd behind him. He can make up 0.7 on the home straight.
We said at the start how laboured he kind of looked, but he paced it beautifully, and I think surely he can keep hold of that pace and raise it a little.
What's Rastakuyev's going to do if he hits all the targets?
Yeah, definitely.
He's got so much potential, this man. He goes 107 behind. Take away the penalty, take it 40 seconds, and he would have pushed himself all the way up into 2nd place. It's so tight. It's turning out, it could be a season of 2 stories, Mike. One, Fourcade just establishing himself as the world dominating force, and then we have this massive battle for 2nd place.
That's what today is. The only battle today is for 2nd place, and Eric Lesser was pushing for it. It's still close. They'll all take heart. Well, we're only chasing 2nd place today.
Well, I'm not sure we're going to get another split on Freddie Lindstrom. Here he is round the final uphill. This is the last serious uphill. Needs to dance his way round. He's looking tired. Remember, it's just 0.7 of a second that he needs to make up. Crucially, Mike, he's got to attack the next 2 corners. The first to the right, the second to the left, and then he might have a chance of overtaking Arndt Piper, who's lying in 2nd place.
Well, Vindish is in that group, and here's Vindish. Vindish is pushing to keep Lindstrom off him.
And Vindish goes 50.6 behind. He's down into 5th position. Great to see the Italians up there. Listen to the crowd as Freddie Lindstrom comes into the stadium. 50 metres to go, 24.08 on the clock, 24.15, he's done it, brilliant final section from Freddie Lindstrom. He stayed strong and he's clawed his way back up into second place. That's what the crowd wanted to see. A second place here in Ostersund with Martin Fourcade racing is as good as first.
What a great day for Swedish biathlon, and Wolfgang Pickler, pity we're not seeing his reactions now. He'll be dancing 10 feet in the air.
Steady on, Wolfgang.
Well, that's so good for Swedish biathlon, and Lindström, we felt that before the 20 that he could do something magical this season. He started very well.
Well, that was a great climax. We're at the climax, but we better just check and see if any of the later starters. We've got a guy called Fauer from Romania who's gone through after the first shoot, is doing okay.
Yeah, done.
Samuelsson, he certainly will have heard the crowd. I'm not sure he will have known what it was about, but he was only just behind Freddie Lindström out on the track, so maybe well aware that Lindström's had a good race. Will it raise his game? Hasn't done him any harm. 8:19 on the clock. He gets the last target down just as Martin Fourcade was splitting the timing wand. So he's some 40 metres adrift of the lead. That, if he can keep it going, is going to be good enough for a top 10. And then I think Wolfgang's Pickler's day will be made to have a couple of Swedes up there in the top ranks.
I'll have to say, Patrick, it's rare that we see a 19-year-old Samuelsson, first ever World Cup race, creating such magic. To this point, it may not last, but it's amazing right now.
Bjørntegard, 19. Remember, it was that, I think it was his very last shot that he missed. It's cost him dear. Well, here are the standings. Fourcade, Lindström, Pfeiffer, the top three. The margin between first and second is monstrous, 41.5 seconds. Incredible performance from Martin Fourcade. Uliana Bjørndalen now pushed all the way down to 11th. He was in 4th when he came across the line, still within a minute of the lead, so he's going to be in the mix of things come the master. Now, Mike, normally the margin between first and 60th is 2.5 minutes. All of those, the top 60 all qualifying for tomorrow's pursuit. Be interesting to see if that gap has been slightly split. Certainly, if we take away Fourcade's time, I think they're going to be a lot closer than that.
I think so, but he's destroyed the field today. Bjørndalen, you mentioned 11th. He is 11th, but he's only got 15 seconds between him and second place. So tomorrow, starting in the pursuit, there's a huge amount of athletes in the first 30 seconds. It'll be a very exciting race tomorrow,
particularly if it's windy.
I'm just trying to think, wasn't it in the pursuit where Martin Fourcade missed a lot of his stand targets, 3 years ago? He had a long lead, a big lead then, maybe 32 seconds. If it's windy.
Yeah, last year it was in the individual that he missed 3 on his last standing shoot. And
he's done it in the pursuit as well here.
He's had 2, well, he's done it in the mixed relay as well. Now, before we went on a commercial, we were trying to track down those later starters who were doing well in the early stages. Number 77, Dessieux of France, certainly worth keeping an eye out. He's within 12 seconds of the lead. And remember, the margin between first and second at the finish is 40, so that gives you some idea of how good that performance is. Dessieux is in 6th after the first shoot. We've got Elisieff, who started, Elisieff, I should say, who started number 61. He's in 8th. Mickey Rush, he's started 69. He's lying in 9th. And then Weissner, who we have just seen of Switzerland, was down in 15th.
Here he is now, the 33-year-old from Belgium.
Which lane's he going to go for?
Probably 16, 17, as far down the range as possible. It's not as windy today, so everyone's coming more towards the middle part of the range rather than the more protected far left.
Just watch those names flick by. Every second wasted, long delay between shots 3 and 4, and after that miss on target number 1, Mickey Roche's prospects of a top finish have long gone, which is a shame. Simon Dessieux is still in the running for a podium finish, 25 seconds behind as he goes through 5.4 kilometers. He's over halfway. Not going to catch this man. Do you think winning gets tiresome eventually? Goodness Farn, certainly, I think he ended his career when he felt he'd done it all, won it all.
And what I can't remember, he was only on something like 30-odd wins. Now Martin Fourcade today will be his 51st victory. No, I think he loves it. I think he just loves putting everything together as best he can every day. Samuelsson in the yellow suit in the background, it's quite phenomenal for a 19-year-old. First World Cup race.
.30.7 the margin. It's good. He's only 5 seconds adrift of Dessieux. But I think we're not likely to see positive splits. I think it's going to go the other way. Already his technique's looking a little more ropey than it was first time around.
Well, the youthful enthusiasm of the first World Cup, he will have hit his first 3.3 kilometers as if it were the finish line, but he's still in the race and still very, very competitive.
But to be honest, I don't think that matters. I think he's shown what he can do. And as he gets older, his endurance will get better. He knows he has the pace to stay with most of the best. Not all of them, but most of them.
It's brilliant. And Wolfgang's theory, you know, get a good cross-country skier and I'll make him into a biathlete. And that's what he's doing again, picking up the talent of the rich field here in Sweden with the high standard of cross-country skiing.
Yeah, he'll be sending an email to Kalle Halvorsen this evening. Fancy a shot at biathlon.
That would be a good sight. Look at the extra weight in the end of Graf's rifle.
Did he not notice that the wind has gone?
I wonder if anybody told him it's less windy today. But it didn't really help him there. He's missed one.
Well, we're still waiting for Dessieux to drop down into the range area. He's only got, what, 700 meters or so to go before his final shoot. Change in tempo, indicating that the athlete is on his final loop, the charge for home.
Martin's winning margin, it's not the biggest we've ever seen in a World Cup 10-kilometer sprint, but it's certainly up there. Very rarely is the field broken by 41 seconds.
Well, I can tell you don't have to go very far back. 12 months ago, he won by 51.6 seconds ahead of Arndt Pfeiffer.
The biggest margin was by Alexander Popov back in the mid-90s in Antholz. He had a lead of 1:17 at the end.
And I think the biggest margin ever was Daria Domracheva in Chianti-Manzi's.
In the sprint.
No, I don't think it was a sprint. Pursuit or individual. I think it might have been the pursuit. So 5 out of 5 for Simon Dessieux, and he keeps his hopes alive of staying in the top 10, but he's going to have to race for it. Now he needs some help from the French fans, and I'm sure the Swedes will help out as well as Dessieux goes for the line. Look how tight it is, 5 seconds. He's now 48.9 behind. If he can keep that margin, he'll go into the top 6, but it's going to be tough.
Dmitry Malishko came in there just 5 seconds behind. He had a real chance to go out chasing the best, but one target set him back.
Fabien Cloud, brilliant junior. Nice to see him getting a run out in the French team. Keep an eye on Samuelsson, top right-hand corner of your screen. 19-year-old local man. 5 out of 5 in the pro.
Pulse still on 1:75.
Surely he's not going to clear all 10. He does, he does. Well done, Sebastian. That is a tremendous effort. Now he has got to produce the ski of his life. Well, he has a look, he's having a look at the screen on the left, and he's going to have to wait a while before he sees exactly where he's going. Now is the time to have a glance, and he'll see that he's in 12th position, and he's in a similar position to Dessieux. If he can raise his game for the final lap, he will get himself into the, well, he could get himself into the top 6, but that would be remarkable.
Well, if he finds 10 seconds, he's chasing his teammate Freddie. There he is.
It's always nice to be on the podium. It's extra special to be on the podium at home. Henrik Labelund, his start number giving you some idea of how in favour or out of favour he is with the Norwegian coaches. It's a little awkward when you have a team with so much strength in depth, Mike. Be nice to see what he could do if he was in the mix of it with the top names.
Yes, it's a kind of a lonely race back with bib 100, but the fact is he's only 2.1 seconds off Fourcade's pace coming into the range. It's brilliant. He missed 9 though, 9 shots in the 20 kilometre.
Well, I was going to say that after the first shoot.
What a pity.
Yeah, and I suspect, even though it was windy, I suspect that's done a bit of damage to his confidence. Oh, yeah. Well, the fastest person with 2 misses is Anton Shapulin, and he's all the way down. In fact, Eberhardt's done well. He's still in 5th, having missed 2. So we'd need to do a few calculations. It could well be Julian Eberhardt who's produced the quickest time on the tracks today, Mike.
Pushing, I would say, yeah, almost level with Martin Fourcade, because it's about 21 seconds, 22 per penalty loop.
Well, that's if you're just doing one. I think by the time you've done a couple, it's down to 25, 26. 103 is Ostersund. Only 105 starters. Giuseppe Montello was the last man away for Italy. The best of the Italians, Dominic Vindish, still lying in 6th position, and then you have to go all the way down to 35th to find the second. That is Lukas Hofer, who's going to miss 3 targets today on a really easy day of shooting. I was so hoping we were going to see one of those seasons when Hofer was finding the shooting phase easy. It seems that that is not going to be the case.
Ostersund, his heart is still beating away there at well, 170 per minute when he came in. It's now down to 155.
When you're wearing shades, how long before you shoot do you lift the shades off the eye just to let the eye adapt?
You should really, from experts when I was racing, give it at least 30 seconds for the eye to adjust. Especially, it's different tonight. It's very dark around, and then you're coming into a light stadium. When it's a sunny day, it's so bright. It does take a little longer for your eyes to adjust.
Is a clear lens not a better option for an evening race?
I think so. I think it would be. It's quite dark out here, although there's a lot of light surrounding the tracks. But yeah, you want good visibility when you're skiing. You need to feel and see everything. Your senses are so well tuned in, and you smell different smells around the track. If anyone's smoking, you get that from about 20 meters or more. The brain just picks up on all these little senses going on around you.
Yeah, the Holmenkollen 50 is perhaps the best of all races for that. The barbecues, the glühwein, the whiskey, it all adds to the atmosphere. Now, Samuelsson, just looking at his split coming out of the range, he was down in 12th position, 47.5 behind, and he's still got a little way to go before the clock's going to stop. And now the positions start to tick by. He's losing time, as I think it had to be expected. I think you were right, Mike. Enthusiasm maybe getting the better of him on the first lap, but one thing's for sure, we're going to be taking note of his next couple of starts.
Oh, I think this is brilliant. When you look at that time, it's 1:07. It sounds a lot, but second place is, as we know, 41 seconds behind Fourcade, who leads with that great time.
Yeah, how many people get World Cup points on their first World Cup race?
Not many.
Very many.
How many athletes under age 20 are racing in World Cup? Not many.
Yeah. Sweden have another star in the making, and they need one before Freddie Lindström decides to pack it in. Simon Dessieux, he's pushed hard on this last lap, 56.7. If he can keep that margin, he'll go into 9th position ahead of Simon Fourcade. But if he loses a second on the last 200 meters, he'll go down to 12th, 13th, or even 14th position. So it's crucial that he attacks the last 400 meters. Here he goes, last little rise. Needs to be high tempos, got to stay balanced. Keeps that inside ski so close to the bollard. Someone could do with moving that final one, which seems to have been kicked out to the right-hand side.
From the last check, he's only 0.3 of a second behind Björn Dahlin, and that's what they're telling him. There's 2 athletes within a second of his time, and that's why he's picking the pace up.
So Simon Dessieux, with the advantage of knowing what he's got to do to get himself in the top 10. He's still there at the moment. Babikov on 24.27 goes down a place. Dessieux goes into 8th position. Well, that's very, very good indeed. He was outside the top 10 with 500 to go. He's put in a good burst at the finish, and it's going to be like a mass start for the bulk of the athletes in tomorrow's pursuit. First head-to-head race. Really looking forward to that, Mike. I think we're spoilt. We all love the pursuit and the mass starts, and sort of feel we could do with more of them.
They're great fun. Fourcade will be out on his own on a little skiing holiday, putting it together as he normally does, but their pack will be really trying to close him down. Samuelsson, he's a new find, a new name for us at World Cup.
Yeah, he should get a decent cheer as he comes in. He certainly deserves it. If he gets top 20, that deserves a massive pat on the back.
From Sollefteå way up the top end of Sweden at the sports college there.
Babikov on 24.27. Top 20, he needs to be within 1:14 of the leaders. He's up against names like Simon Schemp. Whatever happens, he's taking some big scalps. He doesn't get Schlesinger, but he does get Prima, and he's gone into 19th position, and I can't see anyone else who's going to challenge him for a top 20. 24:40 is time.
Just not happening on the range for the Russian team. Shipulin missing 2, Malishko missing 2.
Well, in terms of the Russians, they've got 1 in the top 10. That is Babikov, who is 7th at the moment, 55.6 behind. They've got Svetkov down in 10th, 57.3, and then Elisiev down in 16th. So 3 in the top 16. It's not what they would expect, but it's not bad.
I think they'll be okay with that. Shipulin will be disappointed. The veterans, Shipulin and Malishko, they'll be disappointed. And what about Garanashev? I think he shot badly as well. The older, more experienced ones having a bad day.
France, obviously, with 2 in the top 10. In fact, 3 in the top 10, because Dessieux has just gone into 8th. So Simon Fourcade has been pushed down to 10th. And of course, Martin Fourcade on top of the table. Norway, well, they'll be disappointed, Mike. Not on the podium, for one. The best is Oleana Bjorndalen, so still relying on the services of a 42-year-old. He's in 12th, Svensson in 14, and then we go all the way down to Bjørntegard in 22nd. So there's a team that really will be thinking long and hard about what they've got to do to turn it around. And of course, Johannes Tingesbo, their big hope, 2 misses and outside the top 25.
And look at the points he's giving away today on Fourcade. He wanted to challenge Fourcade this year for the overall best biathlete title. By the end of the season, he's lost an awful lot of points today, Johannes Tingesbo.
16 just now is Pando Kazakhstan, Zakpa is 59, Puciano Romania 58, Ine Bulgaria is 57, Maramai Belarus is 56, and Boulder Switzerland 55 just now. The 60 best will race tomorrow in the pursuit start. Sven Grosegger efter yttraren som är en sent förbrukare. Grosegger är Francis, det är ansvar som
Starting number 99, Sven Grosegger.
Very tense position. Look how tight he feels, or appears to feel, on the rifle. That's a real pity for Sven.
Well, he missed 2 in the stand shoot in this race last year. It would be nice to see an improvement. Now, Labelund already missed 2 in the prone position. Comes from Lillehammer. Oh. Missed 3 last year. He's missed 4 this year, Labelund. And another man hasn't quite fulfilled his potential, but it's been difficult because his way to the top has been blocked by the likes of the Bow brothers and Svensson and Bjorndalen. Roman Rees at the start of his biathlon career, and it's been a pretty impressive one. He's not been intimidated by the big names in his sport. 2:22 and misses out on World Cup points, but he might well find himself with a start in the pursuit tomorrow, and it all adds up to good experience. I'm not sure what went wrong on the range. Just 1 target missed. But actually, a 90% hit rate, you have to settle for that, Mike, because over the season, anyone who's 90 or above has been outstanding. Actually, anyone who's 91, 92 is likely to be the best shot of the year. So to hit 90% in a single race is not bad. Well, there you see the top positions. Fourcade, Lindström, Pfeiffer, Doll, Eberhardt, Windisch, Babakov, Germany, Italy, France, of course, so many nations sharing the top 20 places. Latvia are up there, the Czech Republic are there, Russia have made it, USA are in there as well, and of course the host nation, Sweden. So that is brilliant news. Domination by one team is impressive, but it's not good.
No, it's not at all. And 20 people, 20 athletes today hitting the perfect 10 out of 10. And that's what has made position 2 all the way down to the end of the field so tight. And I think it's still just over our 2:20, 2:30 to make it into the top 60. That's considering Martin Fourcade has broken the field by over 40 seconds. Just having a look first of the Americans. Today it looks like Lowell Bailey, just it's a good time, 58 seconds behind. And that's 13th position.
Ostersund of Sweden can't match his teammates. Freddie Lindström's had a great day. Samuelsson, we know, has had an outstanding day, getting himself in the top 20. There's Freddie Lindström, 2nd place. Thursday we saw a win from Martin Fourcade. 2 days later he's done it again, his 51st win, 95th time on the podium, as you can see, ahead of Lindström and Pfeiffer this time. But that doesn't tell you the story. He's 41 seconds clear of the next best. It was a very, very mature performance, Mike. His standing shoot didn't leave any room for error at all.
Not at all. So locked in, so composed, and so much in his own thinking process. Unbeatable today.
The pursuit coming up tomorrow. We'll see you then. Well, great racing, and hopefully tomorrow is going to be just as exciting. Fourcade will obviously start first in the men's pursuit. Marie Durand-Hebert will lead off in the women's. It's been a double day for the French. They'll be celebrating long and hard once the weekend is over. It will be early bed tonight for all of them because they'll want to do it again tomorrow. Norwegians have some work to do. The Swedes will be happy with the way things have gone. Maybe it will turn out to be their day tomorrow. We'll find out. Hope you can join Mike and myself for the first pursuits of the season tomorrow morning.
Han åkte med Fredrik Lindström, eller Samuelsson, ena varvet här. Och Samuelsson ligger kvar på sin 19:e plats. Här kommer Flamingo. Här kring 40:e plats. Rösteliana, 39 is van der Kloor. Och här rasar hon ut Finello, schweizaren Bersen. Finello 75 das reicht nicht. Le Korea and Huhtala, Finland also too late for the top 60. Number 60 just now is Maragay of Belarus. Ilya Bulgaria and Puciano of Romania are both out. Golden Switzerland is number 59. Graf, Germany 58. Ries of Germany is 57. Shepelin, who was on the podium, is 56. And Raflavik of Czech Republic is 55. Jaroslav Sokov, 4 penalties, 86th place for the man who has been on the podium. Ja, det varierar i resultaten i sitt-skytte, det är ingen tvekan om. Klockan är 4 snart och vi strax har de sista åkarna i mål. Vi väntar på Ladje Lund, vi väntar på Groschegen, vi väntar på Stenersen och Jadov bland annat. Och sedan ska vi ha... We take a run now. Lowell Bailey, USA. 14, Emil Henderson, Norway. 15, Erik Lesser of Germany. 16 is Nate Elise, Russia. 17, Mikael Schlesinger, Czech Republic. 18, Andres Rastor-Bujers, Latvia. 19, Sebastian Samuelsson, Sweden. Number 20, Artem Prima, Ukraine. 21st, Simon Schenk of Germany. 22nd, Adam Björntegård, Norway. 23rd, Jean-Guillaume Beatrix. Och så ser vi att Flamingo grejer sig. Han var över 70, nu har 58 man. Han har gjort en jättevarv för att komma in bland 60 och grejer det precis. Ja, Sebastian Samuelsson var det. Topp 20, Sofia. Ja, det är klart.
slutet. Men när man skjuter 0-0 är det bara krig att man har och ja, det är helt otroligt.
Visste du hur det låg till där ute, eller vad har du fått för simulering?
Jo, jag hörde att det öppnade starkt. Så fick jag höra på förklaret att det var väldigt tajt och det kunde ligga på 10. Men ja, jag var väldigt trött, men jag gjorde så gott jag kunde.
Vi har fått här nere och jubla. Vad kul att se dig, Sebastian. Stort grattis och lycka till på morgondagens jaktstart.
Meter och tjänar på slutet här. Ja, jag var tuff där i Fourcade. Ja, jag tror Västerås.
Biathlon, 27 of Biathlon, 28 Biathlon, 29 is